Hey everybody, welcome to That Vinyl channel. I'm That Vinyl Guy Boz. So here I am once again. It's Monday, so I'm going to go ahead and do another installment of the Mondays on My Turntable. If you're new here, welcome. Basically on Mondays, it's my first day off of work. I work the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Mondays, unless I have something else planned, I'd like to go ahead and take out a bunch of records and clean them and wash them and play them. I do pretty much most of the time wash records before I play them. That way it gets rid of any static and make sure that the record is clean. So what I do is I go ahead and show you all the records that I plan to play today. And so here is a video here of the records that I washed earlier, and they're sitting here in standby waiting on me to play them. And also there are records that I got in the last couple of weeks. Either I bought from a used record store, it could have been even a month or so ago, but records I've got in either in the mail from a used record store, or et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of those records as well, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you the covers to all these records I showed you that I have standby ready to play, so you know the records that I'm going to go ahead and actually put on my turntable and spin today. At least try to spin today. Sometimes I run out of time and I spin them on Tuesday, but let's just say that I spin them on Mondays, right? Because this is Mondays on My Turntable. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and show you all the covers and all the records that I got in the last week or so. Okay everybody, so let's go ahead and move over to my table here where I have all these great records. So the first stack over here is the records that I actually got in the mail or got from these record stores in the last week or so, a couple weeks maybe. And over here are all the covers to all the records that I showed you earlier. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on this stack first. So first we have a record by the band Night. This is their second release, Long Distance, released in 1980. The first album was released in 1979. This band only released 2 albums, but it's a typical rock band. So this here, as you can see, this is an actual sealed copy of this. I'm going to turn it over so you can see the back of it, and very cool. And if you do want to see the track listing. Alright, so there you go. So I really like buying sealed classic albums, sealed older albums, new old stock, whatever term that you want to use for it. There are a lot of reasons to buy them. There's actually some reasons not to as well. There are a lot of people in the VC who have videos up talking about sealed classic albums. And so I was watching a video, one guy last week, his problem with this, and he had a good point too. But his problem with this, he was saying that, you know what, this has been sealed since 1980. You don't know where this album has been, who has had it, where it was stored. It could have been stored in a garage, in a hot garage for, a decade. It could have been stored in an attic. Who knows where it could have been stored at? And so, whenever you improperly store records, it causes them to warp and other issues. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good point, because he does have a good point. But there's a flip side to this, so let's go ahead and move over here. Okay, so let's say you're in a used record store. Let's say I'm there right now, and I'm flipping through some records. I'm looking at this. Okay, we got some records here, awesome. And I come across this one, I pull it out. Okay, so this here is a classic rock album, a classic album. It's a soundtrack actually, and it's from the 1980s. So, and you know what? We also don't know where this has been stored. We don't know who's had it. Where they had it. It also could have been in a garage. It could have been in an attic. We just don't know. So it's very similar to the same problem as the previous album. Now, one good thing about records like this is that you can take it out and you can actually look at the vinyl. Okay, which is something that we all do typically when we're in a record store, and we can take out the vinyl. But there's only so much that we can ascertain from that. I've been in record stores where I've taken out the record, put it in the light, it looks pristine, looks awesome. Okay, great, I got a really great deal. It's a really nice record. I come home, and it has pops and it even skips. So some of this stuff for pops and skips, you can't even see. So, whenever you're buying a used record, you're definitely taking a risk that, you're getting something that is not going to be pristine, or you're getting something that's not going be optimum or awesome. And that's the same that can be said for sealed albums as well. So there's definitely pluses and minuses about buying sealed albums. One thing I can tell you about this record is that when I open it, nobody else is going to have played it but me. So I know there's a much less chance that it's going to have a skip or a pop or crackles caused by somebody putting it on a turntable and not and picking up the needle improperly or what have you. So either way, you're taking a risk. But I'd rather have a record that I am pretty sure nobody else has played, and that way I have a best chance of getting the best sounding record possible. So that's why I like these sealed classic albums. All right, so now that we got all that mess out of the way, let's go ahead and go on here. So I got this in the mail just a couple days ago. This is Dr. Hook, Sometimes You Win. This was originally released in 1979. This here is a Japanese a copy of the record. So what's really nice about Japanese pressings is that you get extra goodies in with the pressing. So this here, does this open up? It does open up. So we have this booklet, okay, so a lot of it is in Japanese, but sometimes you also get some, like back here, there's some lyrics that's in English, and we have this extra artwork here. It's in black and white, but it is extra artwork. So and here's what the vinyl looks like, if you want to go ahead and take a look at it. But I do really like Japanese pressings, especially if I can find them on eBay. Sometimes you can find them, not much more than the standard pressing. So I'm always on the lookout, always looking for deals. So a lot of them come with these obi strips, which is a classic sign of a Japanese pressing. So it's awesome. So this one, it was released in 1979, and it had 3 big hits on it. It had When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman, Better Love Next Time, and Sexy Eyes. So I do like Dr. Hook a lot, so I was very excited to go and get this. All right, and the next I got in the mail just again last week. This was the Bob Seger System, Ramblin Gamblin Man. So this is a reissue on blue vinyl. So I bought this from You Discover Music. So sometimes they have really good deals out there, and that's with a U, by the way, with the letter U. So I do buy releases now and then from them, and they're pretty good. They have fair prices. There's deals. Sometimes they run free shipping, and they have coupons, etc., etc. So it brings down the price, which is nice. Okay, so I got this also in the mail a couple weeks ago. This is Bon Jovi from the Live Legends series. I got this from Juno.uk, which is they're actually in the UK, but if all you're buying is one single record like this, okay, one single record, generally the shipping is not much more than what you'd pay for shipping in the US. Now, when you start adding more records or double or triple albums, then it kind of goes up a little bit higher. But I think it's only like $5 or $6 for one record. This here is the Passing of Day live radio broadcast, which is a gray market bootleg. If you want to take a look at the track listing, here you go. But it's very cool, and I have other Live Legends releases, and they typically are very good quality. Okay, and something that I got from a used record store recently. This year, the band is called Russia. Even though this is the name Russia, they're actually out of Seattle, Washington. This is the band's first album. It was released in 1980. So I guess they got some pushback from the name because they actually ended up changing their name. And on their second album, they changed their name to Force 10. This is their second album. It was released in 1981. But this band only released 2 albums. So they released Russia in 1980, and then they changed their name to Force 10, and they released this in 1981. But it's a typical rock band. I really like rock music from the early 80s, so any chance that I get to go ahead and pick that up. From about 1979, but 1980 through about 83, 84, I think rock just has a really good sound from that time, and I'm definitely interested in picking up bands and records from that time period. Okay, and last but not least, we have Kiss, Rockin At The Ritz. So this is a Rox Vox release. I really like Rox Vox a lot. I have a few of their releases, and they do a really good job with their pressings. Usually has very good artwork on the inside. Of course, this is still sealed. They haven't opened it yet. And they usually have very high quality pressing records. This is also a gray market bootleg, and this is another one that I got from Juno.uk. So we're going to turn it over here if you want to go ahead and see the track listing of this. Little paragraph here, and I'm going to go ahead and focus in on it, so if you're curious of what it says here. But yeah, so this is again a gray market bootleg, and so I'm definitely looking forward to opening this up and playing it. It was released on blue vinyl. Okay, so now let's move over to this stack over here, which are the albums, the records I showed you earlier. So this here is RPM, which was released in 1982. So this is another band that only put out 2 pressings. This is their very first record from 1982, and they put out a second album in 1984. So again, you know, this is just a standard rock album. So now this is another one of those that when I bought, it was sealed. So you know, like I said earlier, I definitely prefer to pick these up if I can. Go ahead and pick these up sealed, so I know that the vinyl is new. It has not been played before, has not been handled by anybody. So let's go ahead. You know what? While I was setting up for this video, I played this. Let's go ahead to go over to the record player and look at this record. Okay, so this is the record right here. This is RPM, as you can see. Like I said, this was a sealed classic album, and I opened it this morning for the first time. So let's go ahead and just turn this on. And let's see if we have any kind of a warping. So it's not 100% flat. It has a tiny little bit of a wobble there. But honestly, this is not too atypical from an album pressed in 1982, because they used thinner vinyl. And even back then, if you bought a brand new record, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't be surprised to see this. I would not really classify this as being warped personally. I mean, yes, it does have a tiny little wobble, but it's about 99% flat in my opinion. So you know, so here's an example here of you know, really an album that was sealed all the way from 1982 until I opened it today. There's really no problem. I played this already, and it sounded amazing. There's no skips, no crackles, no pops. It sounded, you know, exceptionally well. So I was very happy with this, and this is exactly why I buy these sealed records. Okay, so here we go. This here is a soundtrack. This is the Juputer Menace from 1982. This is actually a documentary. So I did watch this a long time ago. I remember watching it, and I came across this in a used record store. And you know, I'm a big fan of sci-fi, big fan of the music that's generally made for sci-fi movies and TV shows. And this here's a documentary. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing this. So there's the hype sticker for it, and turn it over if you want to see the back of it. But I'm a big fan of science fiction. I collect science fiction records like this and soundtracks. Alright, so let's move on to this. This is one that I got about a year ago, and I just have not time to open it yet. This is Styx Paradise Theater. This is a vinyl. It's a beautiful release. So they released it on blue vinyl, limited to 1,000 copies. So let's go ahead and take a look at the vinyl. And this here is what the vinyl looks like. So very cool. Now they did go ahead and copy the original stylized label, and the back side actually has a black label similar to the original pressing. However, it does not have the laser etching on this record. So, but they did decide to go ahead and stick with what the original label looked like. So it's very cool. It's a very cool looking pressing. I actually have another video on my channel from, I think I did it close to a year ago for the 40th anniversary of this album. I'll go ahead and put a card above if you want to go ahead and check out that video. But I talk about all the different pressings of this album that I have, and this here is yet another pressing I have. So, but this is the back side, and but they did a very good job with this. You know what, let me go ahead and open this up, and let's go ahead and take a look at the inside cover. Let's go ahead and get this opened up here. And they did a very good job of trying to make it look like the original album. So this is, of course, Dennis, Tommy, JY, and the Panazza Brothers, and it has the lyrics down here on the bottom. Okay, and next we have Weezer and their release Van Weezer. This came out in 2021. What their idea was to try to make an album that sounded like it came out in the mid 80s, try to make it sound like a classic rock or hard rock album. They actually did a really good job of it. This is a great album. I've heard it a couple times. I do want to go ahead and play it again today. So if you want to take a look at the track listing, there you go. So this was released on Neon Pink. Now they only released about 1,000 pressings on Neon Pink. Let's go ahead and take a look at the record itself. So this is what the Neon Pink looks like. It's a very good looking pressing. So I'm not the biggest Weezer fan. I mean, I do like some of their stuff. I like their Teal album, and I do like some of their singles. I did buy their Blue album, which I just really didn't like at all, so I ended up selling it. But this one here is actually a great Weezer album. So you know, it's like a hit and miss with this band, but it's a great album. I definitely recommend you all pick it up. Okay, and next is I think I bought this from a record show last year, or maybe even the previous year. This is one that's been sitting on the shelf. I just haven't had time to play it. So this is Papa John Creach, a rock father. So even though it's called Rock Father, it's more of a funk soul album. It is influenced by rock, from what I understand. So but I do like funk and soul, especially when it has some rock influences in it. So I'm definitely interested in hearing this. So I took it out, decided to go and play it today. Okay, next here we have Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. So this here is a Roctober reissue on a limited edition orange vinyl. I'm a big fan of Alice Cooper. This is a great album of his. So I'm going to go ahead and I haven't heard this in a little while, so I figured I'll take it out today and go ahead and play it. Now, again, it was issued on this orange vinyl. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So some really nice orange vinyl here, and let's get a close-up of the label. But yeah, it's a really good-looking record. Okay, and so now we have Triumph, Never Surrender. I am a fan of Triumph. I think their music is awesome. So they're a Canadian band. This was originally actually released in 1982 in Canada, but it was released in 1983 in the U.S. This here is actually a U.S. pressing. So, but it is one that I picked up at a used record store a month or so ago, and I figured today is a good day to go ahead and play it. Okay, last but not least, we have Toto live in Amsterdam, 25th anniversary. So I don't think this is a bootleg. I think this is an official release by the band or by the label. I believe. This was actually released in 2003. So in 2003, Toto was celebrating his 25th birthday, basically, if you want to say. Their very first album was released in 1978, and in 2003, that would have been 25 years. So very cool. I'm a huge fan of Toto. Oh, I don't want to bend this. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and show you the track listing here if you're really curious about it. So, but yeah, I do have a couple other live Toto albums as well. So, but you know, any chance I get to pick up a live Toto album, I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. So there you go. This is Toto 25th anniversary live in Amsterdam. All right, and that's the conclusion to another Mondays on My Turntable. I do want to go ahead and thank everybody for joining me today. If you have not subscribed to my channel, now is a great time to do so. Please don't forget to go ahead and tap on that subscribe button and bash on that bell for notifications, and that way you know when I put up brand new videos just like this one here. So again, I do want to go ahead and thank everybody, and I'll see you all next time.